Yo, here we are back at it again. How you guys feeling and doing out there in Geek Swag land? This is your boy TJ Hines, none other than your host, your admin of REI Geek Swag U, also known as at REI Geek Swag on Instagram. If you're not following me on IG, go ahead and take the necessary time to do so at this moment. So as you know, we left off the last time we met here discussing all of the common mistakes that most people make with SMS campaigning. And of course, the solutions that you can now start to implement to rectify in order to put yourself in position now to receive better responses is also, of course, those responses are going to lead to you closing more deals, my friend. Well, today we're going to talk about RVMs, which will essentially complete the three main mediums that most real estate investors use to connect with motivated sellers in order to get deals under contract, so that way now they can make a profit. Stay tuned. REI, Geek Swag, it's your time to get it back. Okay, so I'm glad that you decided to stick around. I promise I'm going to make this as brief as possible. You're going to come to find out very soon here, if you haven't noticed already, that these laws are essentially universal, from cold calling to sending SMS campaigns to RVM. So let's talk about the very first mistake that most people make when sending out their RVM campaigns. Just like cold calling, when most people only call a list one time around, just like when sending SMS campaigns out, most people only send one campaign out. Well, the same thing goes with RVMs. The first mistake is most people only send one RVM campaign out, and when they do not get the responses due to their liking, then guess what? They do not send any more campaigns. They think that just no one is interested in selling at that time. Well, you got to understand this, ladies and gentlemen. When people get voicemails, they may not be able to get back to you right away. And so therefore, what you're going to be doing is, by sending multiple campaigns, you're going to be sending them reminders that, hey, you do have a property for sale, or you're looking to buy properties that people may be interested in selling. And so you have to continually send those campaigns out over and over and over again. That's mistake number one, ladies and gentlemen, only sending one campaign out. The second biggest mistake that most people make, just essentially because they're not aware, and this may be their first or second time doing so, is they try to now send out 100, 200, 300 RVMs at one time. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand that these people are going to give you a call back. A lot of these people may see that they have missed calls and just call the number back without even listening to the voicemail. And so you got to be ready on the other end, a back end system or people in place. If you're going to be sending out 200, 300, 400, 500 RVMs at one time, to be prepared to receive all of those phone calls at one time. If not, what will happen is you'll miss out on a ton of opportunities of people that may be interested in hearing what you have to offer, or at least hearing a little bit of how you can assist them in this process of you buying their home, right? Them getting their home sold. So only send out roughly maybe 25 to 50 voicemails every 20 to 30 minutes as you're just starting out. And as your business starts to grow, now you can start hiring people on the back end to field all of those calls that may be coming in at one time. So that way you do not feel overwhelmed. And most importantly, you're not missing out on any opportunities because you're stuck on the phone dealing with one prospect while you have other prospects that are trying to get through to you on your line that they're calling to as well. So that's mistake number two. Mistake number three, when sending out your RVM campaigns, you need to have multiple IDs, my friend. Again, some of these laws are universal from one medium to the next medium, as you see right here. You do not want people blocking your number because you continually send these campaigns out from the same number. So make sure that you have a few different caller IDs. In the last video, we discussed a software or a company that would allow you to utilize at least 2 to 4 IDs for free. Okay, so if you haven't seen the last video, in the group here, then make sure that you go back and touch on that SMS campaign video and how to avoid those mistakes that most people make when starting out. Moving on to mistake number 4, just like cold calling, SMS campaigns we've discussed already, you need to make sure that you're filtering down your list, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you're going to end up increasing your response rate, not just increasing it, but also getting better responses to your target audience of people that are going to be interested in selling to you now or in the near future. Filtering is huge when you're talking about prospecting. So make sure that you're filtering your list down of the numbers that are not successful with the RVMs going through. So whatever system that you're using, we use slybroadcast.com. It will give you a report of what ringless voicemails were successful hits and failed hits. You want to make sure that you are removing all of the failed hit numbers off of that list. So now once you send another campaign to that list, guess what? You're sending it to a more targeted list, which will increase your chances to get in contact with the right person, to get better responses, to close more deals, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure that you are filtering your list, and that's mistake number 4. Moving on to mistake number 5. Before I address mistake number 5, what I'm about to share with you is something that a lot of people do not teach. But me being who I am, super creative, I'm going to share with you what we actually do in our organization to have our response rates go through the freaking roof, my friend. And that is not using the same voice every time you send out an RVM campaign. In order for you to get better and different responses, your mind must tell you, hey, I gotta do something different. And so the different thing that you want to do here is utilize your daughter's voice, utilize your niece's voice, utilize your grandmother's voice, your mom's voice, utilize your wife's voice, utilize any other voice except yours every time you send out a campaign, and then make sure you personalize it. So let me share with you exactly what I did to increase our response rates through the roof. You're gonna love this. I used my 14-year-old daughter to record a pre-recorded voicemail, and we got very, very personal with it in regards to the message that she left. Now the message went as such. It may not be exact because I wrote it out on the template so that way she could read it off. But essentially what the template said is, me and my dad are interested in buying a home in your specific area as my first investment property to help fund my future college tuition. You see how personal that is? Now just imagine you get a voicemail from a young teenager, a young adolescent saying that they're interested in purchasing their first investment property. Number one, that person on the other end is going to be wowed. Number two, there's an emotional connection to that, right? Because they may be thinking to themselves, wow, I wish I could have been in a position to do that. Why don't I see if I can just help them accomplish that goal, right? And so guys, you got to be super creative in this business. But anyway, guys, hopefully you got something out of this today. If you have any questions or comments, of course, you're watching this in the REI Geek Swag University group. Go ahead and leave your comments, your inquiries, your questions down in the comment section. If you are watching this through the broadcast email and you're on our email list, go ahead and send what questions or comments or inquiries that you may have just by replying to this email. This is your boy TJ Hines. Guys, stay tuned as I continue to bring you the latest tips, strategies, techniques, powerful information that's going to allow you to do your first deal in the next 30 days. You guys have a blessed, amazing week. Peace.